We have my 2-day-old Chipotle. And at the very bottom, we have a bag of dog food. Because you're my dog.
How do I put this constructively and or eloquently? Bruh. Hey guys, it's Briar and let's chat about it. So it truly does feel like since the beginning of social media, people have been posting about their relationships. Whether it's a cutesy clip or funny story time, people love to share. And for the lucky few, you will get the title of Couple Goals, where content about your relationship really sets the standard online. But of course, not all of these clips are received well and not every couple gets this esteemed title, because time and time again, just in the same way couples will go viral for being #couple goals, other couples will go viral and have the internet unanimously react to them by saying, "May this love never find me." And those are the tales we're going to be chatting about today, because it truly does seem like the internet has an endless supply of couples' viral moments going down like a lead balloon. And well, once your relationship gets this reaction, it seems near impossible to change the internet's mind, to the extent where some influencer couples truly have made it their brand. So today we are going to react to some of the most recent examples of these viral moments, and how once you go viral for being anti-couple goals, you go down a very specific path that seems near impossible to go back on. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, stick around and let's get into it. Now, like I said in the intro, I definitely don't think this is a new phenomenon. But I do think once the internet coined the phrase or the sentence, "May this love never find me," it's turned these viral moments and this trajectory online into a very specific type of content and ends up labeling couples with this phrase or with this belief and mentality. And like I said before, it is very hard to change the internet's mind. And I feel like an infamous example of this is Couch Guy. Couch Guy, I haven't heard that name in years. For those of us who were chronically online in 2021, yeah, the Couch Guy situation is nearly 4 years old, by the way. Time is scary. For those of us who remember, once that clip went viral of the girl surprising her boyfriend and him acting kind of just like scared and confused and not at all excited, that reputation was near impossible to break. The internet did not change their mind. In fact, if anything, the internet doubled down on its opinion on the Couch Guy and Couch Girl relationship, even after they went online to further explain the situation, to give more context, to try and get everyone online to see, like, it's not that deep and or that serious, and he does like her. But people, no, they were not buying what they were selling at the Couch Guy stall. And I feel like that is a sentiment that really rings true in these examples that we will be reacting to. And I feel like a few kind of topics that I want to, just kind of throw out there, and you can catch them if you will, is definitely a context, right? Because when people are posting these clips online, in your own brain, you have all the context about you and your partner and your relationship and whether you feel it's a good one or not. But us, the silly goofy viewer scrolling on our phone, we don't know you. I always love to say that in my videos. I don't know these people. And so therefore, as we also like to say, we are just reacting to the actions, the information that we are being given and drawing conclusions from that information. And I feel like if anything, what this pattern and this repeated reaction does show in these situations is that this is a very human reaction to these situations. We are getting a clip out of context usually, or with very little context, or we don't know these people. So us, the goofy goobers, we will take it in and process it with our own perspective. We don't have your perspective, so we'll use our own thank you. We will draw our own conclusions. We will use our own life experiences to fill in the blanks. And interestingly, in these examples, the internet does seem to come to a very unanimous conclusion. Now, the other thing I wanted to clarify before we get into these examples is that whilst yes, these people I wouldn't call influencers, they definitely were actively posting on social media before these situationifications went viral. And I think that tells us a couple things, right? It tells us that they are online, they are interacting on TikTok, they do have context of the app, and I think in 2025 we are kind of in like a weird situation where it's like, yes, you have the knowledge and the understanding that anything you post, if you post it publicly, could be seen by anyone. But on the other hand, how likely is that to happen often feels really small. And I think it's really hard to conceptualize what going viral to that extent feels like, or going onto the wrong side of the internet, or the internet not liking you or disagreeing you on that scale feels like, until it happens. Even I, whilst yes, I have the understanding to an extent, I have not experienced to the scale what these people have experienced. And I do think that that is something to keep in mind, because as we love to say on this channel, these are human beings, right? But anyway, let's just simply get into these examples that I have brought for us to react to today. And I feel like once we go through both examples, you will really see those commonalities and similarities that I have been hinting at. But any slay, I have already been yapping too long. So let's simply watch this first example. So that video has over 3 million with an M views, and the caption says, "Is this boy math? ? And the comments are turned off, which I do think is a common thread that happens a lot in these situations, and understandably so. But if you didn't catch what it said on the video, it says, "My husband said we can't go on too many dates because we need to save money," and then goes and buys this, and then proceeds to show a new truck being delivered to the house. And again, I feel like this is where context and knowing people, not knowing people, matters a lot. Because for us, bestie pops, just watching this video, it kind of incites this reaction. It kind of just incites a, oh, that's not. Because the amount of dates, the amount of hours that man could have bought with that truck. Although I understand in America, most people don't buy their cars outright. Like usually they, get a loan. But, even still, to buy a part of the car and, commit to a loan, that's still a lot of money. And so I do really feel like this is a really perfect example of this type of content, right? Of someone posting something that they're like, it's a bit silly, like my partner, blah, nobody's perfect, they got to work it again and again to get it right. And the internet just really being like, brother, this guy stinks. No one likes her partner, and everybody makes their mind up about them. And I feel like these are the threads, as I said earlier, that are very common, that are hard to break. And it's like, once you are on the road, on the yellow brick road, on the road to El Dorado, whatever road you're on, you can't get off, you can't change it, you can't go back, and you are almost committed to this trajectory, of which we will watch now. Now, the first video I'm not going to show you because she has her baby in it. Well, I don't know, but it's basically just a montage of clips of her husband with their baby, and it says, "My selfish and uninvolved husband, everyone is telling me to divorce," and it's like cutesy cute clips of them together. And once again, comments are off and the likes are very low for the views. It has over 30,000 views and just over 500 likes. So the optics are not great. And this is kind of the beginning of that trajectory, right? You have this viral moment and everyone reacts to your relationship in a way that you didn't anticipate, or takes way more seriously than you thought they would, or didn't go hee hee ha ha, that's funny. And so now it's like damage control. It's like we're calling in the PR team. SpongeBob is running around in our brain, throwing around the papers. We're trying to fix it and trying to have a discourse with social media, specifically TikTok, to be like, see, my partner's not who you say they are. My partner is loving. My partner is great. You've come to the wrong conclusion. But like I said, once TikTok kind of makes its mind up about something, it's very hard to change it. So let's watch the next video.
So if any of y'all have seen my last video that went completely viral, which I was definitely not expecting, You may have seen that there were a couple bold comments. And when I say a couple, I mean a lot, but a few of them were pretty strong statements along the lines of this one, which says, no, he doesn't actually love you, Math. A lot of them were also saying like, no, he doesn't love you. He only cares about himself. You should leave him. Oh, my ex-husband used to do this. Like pretty strong feelings.
And I think this raises a pattern that I'm not saying is right or wrong, but I think it is very human. Like I said, she, in her mind, has all the context when she posts the video. We don't have that context. So we infer context, we fill in the blanks. And in these situations, for a lot of people, that reminds them of a bad relationship. And so that's why they're kind of like, you're not going to change my mind. He doesn't actually love you, Math. Like, that is why people come to that conclusion. And so I totally agree and believe that she didn't expect this reaction or this video to go viral. I do think it is really important and helpful to understand as like people that post online that people don't have the context about you. People don't know you. People in that video were coming across you and your relationship for the first time. And so that's the impression they got and the conclusion that they came to.
And now I wasn't going to respond, but yesterday was the perfect example of how my husband is very generous, always is thinking of me, very considerate, and spoils me. So today is Friday, but on Tuesday, I nonchalantly said, oh, the only thing I really don't love about my car is the wheels. I wish it had black rims instead of the silver that are on it. I think it would just change the look of the whole car, and I really liked it. But I said, we don't know how long I'm gonna have the car that I have, so I don't really wanna put the money into it, so let's just keep it the way it is. So 2 days later on Thursday, I'm about to head to work, and my husband tells me to take his car. The roads here in DFW have been pretty icy and a little bit slippery for the past few days, and as we all know now, he has a massive truck, so he told me to take it because he would just feel better that I was in a bigger, safer car that's just made for not so great weather. And I said, say less, because I like driving the big truck. So I'm getting home from work on Thursday, and I notice my car isn't there, so I call my husband. I'm like, hey babe, where are you at? He says, park the car in the driveway and come outside. I'm about to pull in, and I have a surprise for you. And guess what? Wheels in the driveway 2 days after I mentioned it. My car with black wheels on it. And I don't say that to brag. I only say that to mention like what a great man he is. In 2 days after I said it, he got it done, surprised me, and I absolutely love it. So you know what? I'm glad this love found me, and I think I'll keep him.
And so yes, I totally understand wanting to defend your relationship, wanting to stand up for your partner, especially if you genuinely in your heart of hearts feel like they are a good person. You want that love to find you and be with you forever. Like, I get it. I totally understand the desire to defend your relationship and to defend yourself. And I do think if she had shared that story, not in defense of her husband, but just like, this is a cute story time, this may have been a story that people would have been like, couple goals, that's so cute for you. Love a man that listens. We love a man whose ears are connected to their brain. But unfortunately for her, like I said, people have made their minds up. And because people feel like she is just desperately kind of trying to defend him, the comments don't reflect a change of heart or a change of mind. For example, one of the top comments is, hi, he did this out of guilt, hope he helps. I wonder why women post their husband doing stuff like this and go right back to defending them. Like, the girl is a pity party, all you wanted. Yes, he spent 80K on a truck and a couple thousand to have it delivered instead of 120 on a date once a week. You don't see how crazy that comparison is. And a comment that definitely for me confirms that this is a tale as old as time, a story we've seen so many times before online that says, oh hey, the explanation video while doing makeup showed up right on schedule. And I do think it is interesting how this has become such a specific set of dominoes that fall, or such a specific series of events that happen after the going viral and the internet unanimously saying, may this love never find me, please don't find me, I'm hiding from this love. This seems to happen over and over again, and the internet, specifically TikTok, always seems to have such a specific reaction. And I feel like TikTok specifically, this happens for like various reasons. One being that TikTok comments especially are very dynamic. I feel like there is so much discourse and opinions being shared in TikTok comments, especially now. Like, you can use GIFs, you can add like specific photos, like they are so dynamic. In some TikToks, like the comments are funnier than the TikTok itself, or it's like when you're hanging out with a group of friends and everyone's like riffing off each other. Like it becomes a whole conversation as opposed to here's a content, you're welcome. And so I think definitely in these situations where it's like one person defending their relationship and hundreds of people being like, immediately no, there is just no way you are going to change the internet's mind, no matter how cutesy of a anecdote you have to share with them. But now let's move on to an even more recent and even more viral example of this tale, of this scenario. And well, if the phrase "I forgot my lunch so I asked my boyfriend to pack it for me" means nothing to you, buckle in, folks, get a snack, sit down, get comfy, because you better be sitting down for this, because this video went crazy bananas on TikTok. It currently has over 33 million views, and well, let's just watch it so you guys can see why it got the reaction, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about.
So I forgot my lunch today, and I asked my husband to bring me lunch. So let's do an unboxing, because clearly it's a little full. I just have a feeling this is going to be really good. We have a bag of we have a bag of cookies. Not a Ziploc bag, but a bag. We have a bag of pretzels. Feels very empty. We got an apple. Gotta stay healthy. This is good. We have not just a portion of Pringles, but an entire container of Pringles.
So don't worry, we're not even close to being finished yet, but so far I feel like the vibe that you're getting is like, it's a little bit higgledy-piggledy. It's a little bit just like whatever was in the cupboard thrown into the lunchbox, but sure, these are snacks. I'm not mad that someone put cookies and chips in my lunchbox and an apple. Like, okay. So far, I'm like, okay, sure, I'm listening. But like I said, buckle in, hold on to your seatbelts, hold on to your hats, hope that your timbers aren't shivering too much, because it's about to get a whole lot more diabolical.
Another bag of cookies. Another bag. Options. Lucky me. And lastly, oh. Okay. We have my 2-day-old Chipotle. And at the very bottom, we have a bag of dog food. Because you're my dog. There's 2, Joy. Please bring back the dogs are low on food. So ladies, if you don't have food and your husband has to bring you a lunch, just know that you're gonna get lots of food, as well as maybe even a cute note. This is nice. This is great.
How do I put this constructively and or eloquently? Bruh, I told you it was going to get diabolical. I told you that your timbers would be shivering, because, okay, the snacks options, great, whatever. But what is the lunch? 2-day-old Chipotle. And then, oh, we've got a comedian on our hands. He's got us gooped and gagged and giggling in our seats because he gave us a Ziploc bag of dog food that says, because you're my dog, but also please give it back because this is just a gag and the dogs need it. So yeah, as I'm sure you can imagine, just like the other example, this went down like a lead balloon. But interestingly, these comments are still open, but very refrained, minimized, don't know. There's only 66, but let's go through a couple of comments that have made it through the filter or are still there. For example, oh, so he hates you. As I said in the intro, may this love never ever find me. Is this a humiliation ritual? I really met a woman who hasn't settled for a man. Oh, that's a bit savage, okay. To me, I was like, if they don't have anything in the house, like, can't he just like order you more Chipotle? Like, surely we can't be eating 2-day-old Chipotle. Someone actually defending this situation saying, God forbid a couple has some humor. I'm a Trevor fan. And then the creator replies, they just don't get it, I guess. Sorry, that's me doing the the emojis. Bro is fired from packing your lunch, not you smiling and laughing the pain away. And this is what I mean by the context, people inferring context, people using their own experiences, and then also the creator being like, what do you mean you guys had no context and you didn't find this funny? I think it's just a real mismatch of what the creators or posters context is of the relationship and the audience taking in this information, and then when they completely don't align, the person who posts the video and has everyone unanimously be like, may this love never find me, is offended, confused, thinks that you don't have a sense of humor, doesn't understand why you don't get it, but also doesn't acknowledge we don't really have the context to get it. And also, like, forgive me, an unfunny person saying this, but like, jokes are meant to be funny, you know? And so that was the main video. Like I said, over 33 million views. And I feel like this situation, but basically all of these viral situations, yes, have a massive discourse in the comment section until they're turned off. But because it's TikTok, they also get the reactions of the skit recreating videos or people posting about their relationships and being like, see, this is how my partner packs my lunch. It's not just that the discourse is so dynamic and unanimous and involved in the original video, but because on TikTok anyone can make a video, it becomes such a dynamic conversation in other videos because people can make videos reacting to it, because people can show their own experiences of like, this is the love that you probably want to find you, and this is my partner making my lunch, and look, there's a sandwich that's not 2 days old in here. Crazy, right? As we saw with the first example, we have a trajectory to follow. So let's watch the videos that followed this initial viral one.
Woke up this morning.
Got 13 likes on my last TikTok. Thinking about doing a few meetings.
The girl them skill out.
Those videos were the perfect example of kind of like trying to join in on the joke, trying to diffuse the situation, trying to be like, hey guys, I know you all unanimously hate my husband, but it's not that deep, it's not that serious. If anything, it's actually really funny. But unfortunately, that tactic just often doesn't work and isn't very convincing. So let's now move into the next video that she posts, which is the dog food lunchbox explained video. So let's see her explanation.
It's the lunchbox girl. Okay, the explanation y'all have all been waiting for. It's time to explain what happened this weekend. And I cannot even process that I'm making this video right now. Okay, so a few people, 30 million to be exact, and more, because it's been posted other platforms, have seen the video of me unpacking the lunch, the dog food, that my husband packed me. And most of you, half of you, 3/4, 75%, hated it. You thought it was horrific, horrible, and the worst thing that's ever happened to anybody. I'm here to explain it, okay? Number one, the dog food. He spelled it, yes, his handwriting is horrible. Yeah, it is, you're right. Y'all are so pressed that he called me a dog. He did not call me a D-O-G, dog, D-O-G, like a dog that has a leash. He did not call me that. D-A-W-G, dog as in homie, American slang for homie. It's what we call each other. It's a joke.
Unfortunately, calling something a joke doesn't inherently make it funny, but I don't think that people had the reaction that they did because he called her a dog, D-A-W-G. I think people just felt like everything that was put in that lunch kind of said, here, have whatever. I think a lot of people just felt like even without the dog food, there wasn't a lunch. The main meal he gave her was the 2-day-old Chipotle. So Chipotle, was that a vine? Don't know. But again, like I keep saying, context is key. A lot of people, without her context of this is a really funny joke because they're each other's dogs and homies, is that this person didn't really give you a lunch when they asked you to, and they didn't find it funny. But anyway, let's continue watching her explanation.
J-O-K-E, joke. Y'all were also so pressed that he put it in my lunchbox. That's why he put it in a bag, so it didn't get on my food. This was at the bottom because he thought of it last, and he tried to hide it under the Chipotle so that it would be a surprise. Because it was funny. It was a joke. He was trying to make me laugh.
I might be majoring in the minors here, but if it was at the bottom of the lunchbox, wouldn't he have thought of it first? I don't know. Anyway.
Which it worked. Him and my sister came up with this idea together. My sister thought it was funny too. Moving on. Second, the Chipotle. Y'all are all really upset that it was 2-day-old Chipotle. Well, guess what? Teacher brain deceived me. It was actually a day old. It was from the night before, so not even a day old. I said 2. As a teacher, 1 day feels like 7. Okay, all I get in my bowl is rice, steak, and beans. That's what my son thinks about it. Okay, anyway. He brings me lunch once a week. So all of you saying that this is his way of telling you to never ask again, no. He brings me lunch once a week. Normally, it's like Chick-fil-A or something like that. First day of school, he bought me a bouquet of candy and a bouquet of flowers, set up a whole screen that said, happy first day of school, all the things.
I really should have made a bingo card for this, because then we could have ticked off inserts anecdote about them being a really slay partner, and see, don't hate them because they actually do lots of nice stuff. But anyway, let's continue.
He doesn't hate me, guys. But the Chipotle, the reason he packed that is because he wasn't planning on bringing me lunch that day. I had asked him to bring me lunch because I had forgotten, and he said, what would you like? I said, Chipotle leftovers and snacks. He packed me Chipotle leftovers and snacks. The reason I recorded it is because I knew it was gonna be funny how he packed it. I just knew it was gonna be.
This adds another but completely different layer of context, where in the original video she framed it as like, these are the things that this man collated and put in her lunch bag, whereas in reality, like, this is what she told him to bring him, but yet it was framed in the opposite way. And clearly when she posted it, she didn't see how that could be interpreted differently, how people might not be, splitting their sides, cackling their boots off, things like that. But anyway, let's watch the rest of her video.
The dog food was a sweet surprise that made me laugh. And so that's all I'm gonna say on that. Thank you for the love and the hate. Both does the same for me. Love you guys. And I know you're already gonna hate me for even coming out with an explanation, because it gives you a reason not to hate anymore. But if you're here for the teacher content and the QOOTDs, feel free to stay. If you're not and you're only here to hate, peace, love, and happiness, and I hope that you find something to find joy in today and not just hate on someone else's life. Mwah!
I am not the almighty, all-knowing, powerful Wizard of Oz. Like, I'm not here to draw conclusions on these people's relationships or tell them if they're good or bad, things like that. Because, yes, exactly, we don't know them, and it would just be kind of bizarre if I made such statements as if I knew things that I didn't. But I do think it's interesting in how all of these situations, people don't see the disconnect of how this reaction happened in the first place. And that's not me being like, you deserve the hate, oh my gosh, people deserve the online hate, blah blah blah, because no, but just in the same way that they ask the people watching to step back and think about it differently, I do feel like it is a two-way street, in the sense of like, how are you portraying your partner online, and will people find it funny if they don't know you? And to go to the comments once again, these videos really don't change many people's minds. To read a few of them: we don't hate you, girl, we're sad for you. I don't really understand why people are hating on her, she already has her biggest hater at home. Girl, are you convincing us or yourself? She's not explaining to us, she's explaining to herself. She ... she thinks we didn't get the joke. Denial is a river in Egypt. Once again, this just really shows how a video like that can solidify and cement that reputation on your relationship. Whether or not the people in the relationship feel that way, whether or not it is objectively, subjectively, any other relatively true, once you have that reputation, once people have that perception, it's really hard to change. And a lot of people just perceive these explanation videos and the joking videos and the kind of condescending remarks as just like a JoJo, too little too late, you're just a little too late. They've already, like I said, made up their mind. And if anything, these videos usually just confirm these people's beliefs. As I'm sure you can imagine, if you are a creator online or if you're an influencer and this reputation gets attached to your relationship, it's incredibly impossible to refute, to change. And oftentimes, because people don't reflect on how that perception happened in the first place, they continue to post those things that confirms that belief, and or because that's the stuff that goes viral, they feed into it. I feel like the perfect and most notorious example of this is Matt and Abby of We're Canceling Father's Day fame.
We've decided as a family that we are not celebrating Father's Day this year.
Father's Day, it's always in June, and it's like
Last
always
year
around.
was June 18th, which is Matt's birthday. So
Yes.
he had Father's Day and his birthday on the same day. And
So sad.
I will say I did kind of combine the holidays.
You did combine the two of them.
Matt completely making postpartum and breastfeeding about himself.
The hospital staff said that the minimum stay for a C-section was 48 hours. It put our marriage to the test. It wasn't the hospital staff. They were great. We were just sleep deprived, and my wife was dealing with the intense hormone change that happens postpartum. But worst of all, there was breastfeeding, which really caused us to butt heads. It was really important to my wife that she breastfed our baby, but it was really important to me that our baby got.
Matt posting about how he's moved out of their bed, even though it really upsets Abby, and he sleeps in their walk-in wardrobe for reasons.
It's super embarrassing, but I've been sleeping in our walk-in closet for the past month now. And my wife's not a huge fan of this arrangement.
And of course, him complaining about how he had to barbecue and grill at his own birthday that his very pregnant wife organized for him.
I mean, you were pregnant, you were uncomfortable, you were
We
close.
just gotten back from our baby moon that day. I got you a cake from DQ.
I guess we had
and
just
had
gotten
our
home.
family over and grilled.
Well, I grilled, but I know a lot of dads grill on their birthday.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had
And
Father's
I grew
Day.
your child
You did grow my child.
all day, every day.
But like Father's Day and my birthday were the same exact day.
Yeah, and
it kind of was a bummer.
I'm gonna be honest with you, I failed you.
This man has struggles. Sorry, I can't hold back the eye rolls for that man, unfortunately. Most people I try to remain pretty indifferent to. If 2 + 2 is 4 and 5 + 5 is 10, at some point there is so much overwhelming information about someone that it's hard to believe or question it. And I think that's the thing about Matt and Abby and what they kind of reflect about this May This Love Never Find Me content and reputation that couples end up with is if you are influencers and if you want to post online and if you end up with this reputation, at some point you end up feeding into it, and at some point you end up just making it worse, either because A, you're oblivious to how you're perceived. For Matt, I feel like he kind of has like the J-Lo delusions where people say, hey, like people don't really like you or like your behavior, and he just chooses not to believe it. Also because that gets a lot of views and engagement and people talking, and when that's your job, when that's your career, when that's how you make money, when views is how you make money, you have these very conflicting desires, but often you end up just feeding into that reputation because that's how you make the shmoney. That's how you keep relevant. That's how you keep people talking about you and engage with your content. And I feel like it's just a really interesting reflection on how you can be a popular content creator in numbers, but not particularly in how people feel about you or like you. I feel like as well, since this term, May This Love Never Find Me, has been coined, people are very like hyper vigilant of it. People are very aware that you can be in a relationship where the person doesn't like you, they don't treat you well, and it almost feels like people are like hyper aware or almost afraid of being in the situation and seeing when these people are kind of reflected it back that they are in the Nile River in Egypt, because when I was doing my silly little research for this video, if you can even call it research, more just collation of videos, I saw a lot of people posting videos of May This Love Never Find Me, but they're recording strangers, they're recording couples they may or may not know, they're recording people that they have observed in the wild. And I think with that, there is even less context. We know even less about this couple. We have really no idea why this interaction is happening. And to name a few examples, I saw like couples at lunch on their phones, people holding hands, and like one of them wasn't really holding the person's hand properly. And even perhaps the most bizarre one was a couple was rowing in like a cute little rowboat on like a date, and the girl was rowing instead of the guy, and they were like, may this love never find me. What if I wanted to row the boat? Hello? Are us girlies not allowed to row the boat too? And And I think that's just a bigger reflection of this like hypervigilance of being like, I do not want to have a bad love or a bad relationship, which valid and fair, but we can't just project this idea or say that these people are in a bad relationship or you would never want their relationship because the girl is rowing the boat instead of a guy. I would like to row the boat. I saw me and my partner really want to go to Italy one day, and I saw you can like do that, like you can row boats in Rome, I think it was, and you bet your sweetest of cheeks that I will be rowing the boat too. And I would just be personally baffled, chat, if someone saw me rowing the boat, having the time of my life because fun, and someone interpreted that as, oh my gosh, may that love never find me. He's making her row the boat. Like maybe he was making her row the boat. Maybe they were on their phones because they didn't like each other. Maybe he wasn't holding her hand properly because he doesn't like her. But we don't know, right? We just don't know. But because there is this idea and the sentiment that we are so aware of at the moment, we are very much criticizing and looking at people's relationships and strangers that we don't know and inferring so much, good or bad. And I feel like my final and ultimate example of this is definitely Justin Bieber and Hailey Bieber, because to this day, you will come across compilations of like Man of the Year, May This Love Never Find Me, of clips of Hailey and Justin and people just feeling like, I don't think he loves you. Of again, May This Love Never Find Me. I feel like a really good recent example of that was when Hailey was on the cover of Vogue and Justin posted it on his Instagram, but he posted it with the caption that said, yo, this reminds me when Hailey and I got into a huge fight. I told Hales that she would never be on the cover of Vogue's. Yikes, I know, so mean. For some reason, because I felt so disrespected, I thought I gotta get even, ... I think as we mature, we realize that we're not helping anything by getting even. We're honestly just prolonging what we really want, which is intimacy and connection. So baby, you already know, but forgive me for saying you wouldn't get a Vogue cover because clearly I was sadly mistaken. And I think whether or not Justin and Hailey have a good relationship, things like that and these compilations and this reputation that they have had for so long has resulted in people perceiving their relationship in this way, and for a lot of people will not change their mind about it, whether or not it's true, whether or not it's fair, because once your relationship has this reputation, it is really hard to break. And I would love to know if you guys can even think of an example when people have changed their mind about it, when people have changed their perspective about a relationship that has been seen in this light, but over time or with new information, people have changed their mind, because I genuinely couldn't think of an example. And so on that note, I would love to know you guys' thoughts about these situations in the comments down below. Whether it's about Matt and Abby and how this has become a part of their brand, whether it's about Justin and Hailey, who are like celebrities that can't shake this reputation, or whether it's about the examples that we reacted to of these people posting about their relationships on social media and ending up going down this path that you can't seem to turn around on. It's like once you're on the ride, you can't get off. It's almost like a very bad roller coaster. But yes, as always, I would love to know all your thoughts in the comments down below, and I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you stay till the end, you are a real one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. He's my buddy. Up. Oh my goodness. You got something to say? Okay, hold on. Thank you. As we know, my dogs know my outro because they are in fact attention seekers. But anyway, if you want to keep up with me between my uploads, I'm on TikTok and Instagram, and I'll link my vlog channel down below. And YouTube should be recommending another one of my videos on the screen right now, but don't you worry guys, because I'm not funny there either. Bye.